The peaceful exploration vessel HFY Pathfinder drifts silently through the uncharted nebula when 7 sleek alien ships materialize from folded space. Captain Rodriguez extends greeting protocols across all frequencies, but the Galactic Concord warships respond with energy pulses that cripple the human vessel's shields. Unidentified vessels, this is Captain Elena Rodriguez of the Earth Exploration Corps. We come in peace and seek dialogue. She broadcasts again, her calm voice masking the anxiety that grips the bridge crew. The ship's sensors analyze the alien vessels, geometric perfection in their design, with hulls that seem to bend light around them. Lieutenant Commander Raj Patel scans the tactical displays with growing concern. Captain, they're powering up weapons systems unlike anything in our database. Shields are already at 30% from that initial pulse. The alien transmission finally crackles through, a dissonant blend of clicks and harmonic tones that the translation matrix struggles to process. When it finally resolves, the message chills everyone on the bridge. Primitive vessel detected in restricted space. Biological contamination protocols engage. They think we're an infection, whispers Science Officer Chen, her eyes wide. Their response is immune system, not diplomacy. Rodriguez straightens her uniform. All hands, this is not a drill. Prepare first contact package Alpha 7. Include all linguistic databases, cultural archives, and scientific achievements. Make it clear we're an advanced civilization seeking peaceful relations. The Pathfinder's communication array redirects power, transmitting humanity's story in compressed data bursts. Art, music, mathematics, and philosophy. A desperate attempt to demonstrate they're dealing with equals, not primitives to be exterminated. For a moment, the alien weapons power down. Hope flickers across the bridge. Then everything happens at once. The largest alien vessel, a crystalline structure that dwarfs the Pathfinder, emits a concentrated graviton beam that tears through the exploration ship's already weakened shields. Emergency containment fields activate as hull breaches open across 3 decks. Klaxons blare their desperate warning as oxygen vents into space. They classified us as a threat. Rodriguez shouts over the chaos. Something in our transmission triggered this response. Patel works frantically at his station. Hyperdrive is offline. Conventional engines at 12%. We're dead in space, Captain. Rodriguez makes the hardest decision of her career. Activate the Heimdall Protocol. Communications Officer Jana Petrov's hands fly across her console. Heimdall requires direct neural interfacing at this distance, Captain. The feedback could be, I know the risks, Jana. Do it. Petrov hesitates for only a second before reaching for the neural interface, the specialized transmitter that would send every detail of their encounter back to Earth needed more power than the damaged systems could provide. The only solution, channeling the bioelectric energy of a human nervous system to boost the signal. Recording active, Petrov says, her voice already strained as the interface connects to her neural pathways. Full spectrum data capture, adding personal log supplement. The bridge rocks under another impact. Life support warnings flash across every screen. To anyone receiving this, Petrov speaks directly into the recorder as energy begins to surge through her body. We encountered 7 vessels of unknown origin at coordinates embedded in this transmission. They attacked without provocation after minimal communication. Their technology exceeds our defensive capabilities. Remember us. Learn from this. Don't let our deaths be meaningless. As the alien commander, Supreme Overseer Krolvex, dismissively logs the encounter as primitive species neutralization, the Heimdall Protocol completes its transmission, carrying with it everything humanity would need to identify their attackers. Petrov collapses as the neural feedback overwhelms her system, but her sacrifice ensures Earth receives the Pathfinder's final moments in crystal-clear detail. Captain Rodriguez crawls to her side, holding her hand as the bridge fills with escaping atmosphere. The last image transmitted shows the bridge crew standing together, facing their end with dignity, as the Pathfinder breaks apart around them. unaware they've just awakened a sleeping giant from a world forged by conflict. 6 months later, Concorde long-range sensor operator Ticklith notices an anomalous reading, a massive object traveling at speeds that violate the Concorde's understanding of physics. Her four-fingered hands hover over the crystalline console, triple-lidded eyes blinking in sequence as she verifies the readings a third time. "Senior Monitor," she calls, her voice wavering slightly. "I'm detecting an anomaly in Sector 7 Gamma. Mass signature exceeds standard parameters by a factor of 12. Senior Monitor Vex Peel glides across the monitoring chamber, his gravitational stabilizers humming softly. Another quantum echo, Operator Ticklith. "Reset your calibration matrices." "I'd already performed 3 recalibrations," she insists, displaying the converging data streams. The object maintains consistent velocity and trajectory, directly toward Concorde space. Vex Peel's skin flushes a concerned amber. "Alert Admiral Zexthal immediately." Within the crystalline spires of the Concorde High Command, Admiral Zexthal receives the report with characteristic dismissal. The Admiral's exoskeletal frame towers over the holographic display, mandibles clicking in irritation. A primitive species barely capable of interstellar travel poses no threat to the Concorde, he chittered. Their destruction was logged according to protocol. The matter is closed. "With respect, Admiral," Vex Peel counters cautiously. The object's propulsion signature suggests technology far beyond primitive classification. Its current velocity exceeds our fastest military vessels by 27%. "Impossible," Zexthal scoffs, but orders the quantum projection display activated nonetheless. The chamber darkens as three-dimensional light constructs materialize. The approaching object takes shape, a massive warship of unmistakably human design. Its hull bristles with weapon systems unlike anything in Concorde records, and engine signatures pulse with energies the Concorde believed theoretical. The HSS Retribution reads the computer translation of the vessel's identifier markings. Earth Defense Force. For the first time in his distinguished military career, Admiral Zexthal feels uncertainty crawl beneath his armored carapace. "Assemble the defense fleet," he orders. "All available vessels." Aboard the Retribution, Admiral Li Chen stands before the memorial wall installed in the ship's central corridor. 678 names are etched into polished titanium. The crew of the Pathfinder and other exploratory vessels lost to the void. She traces her fingers over Captain Rodriguez's name, an old friend from academy days. "We received your message, Elena," she whispers. "Now we respond." Commander Sato approaches, tablet in hand. "Admiral, engineering reports the shield harmonics are calibrated to match the energy signatures from the Pathfinder's final transmission. Weapon systems are online, and the adaptive hull matrix is functioning at peak efficiency." Lai nods. "And the crew?" Completing final preparations, many are reviewing messages from home. Throughout the massive warship, 2,000 men and women prepare for humanity's first interstellar conflict. In the mess hall, Lieutenant Santos shows holographic images of his newborn daughter to squadron mates. Chief Engineer Nakamura leaves a virtual flower at the small shrine established for the Pathfinder crew. Weapons Officer Jackson reviews the engagement protocols once more, confirming the non-lethal options are prioritized. "This isn't about extermination," Admiral Lai had told them during her briefing. "This is about justice and recognition. We demonstrate our strength not through destruction, but through restraint. Earth stands ready behind us, but we hope one ship will be enough to deliver our message." On the command deck, tactical displays show the Concorde border approaching rapidly. Long-range sensors detect multiple vessels converging to intercept. "Admiral to the bridge," announces the ship's eye. Concorde vessels detected on approach vector. Lai Chen takes one final look at the memorial wall before making her way to the command deck. Her expression is resolute but not vengeful, the face of humanity that the Concorde will soon confront. "Tactical analysis," she asks, taking her position at the command station. 50 vessels in formation, Admiral. classified as the Concorde's elite Spear of Judgment battle group. Lai studies the approaching formation with calm assessment. Prepare first contact protocols. Let's give them one chance to talk before we demonstrate what humanity is truly capable of. As the massive human warship approaches, the battlefield holds its breath, unaware that history is about to be rewritten. The Concorde's pride and joy, 50 warships arranged in their legendary Spear of Judgment formation, intercepts the HSS Retribution at the Kalian boundary. The geometric precision of their formation speaks to millennia of military doctrine, a display meant to intimidate through unity and coordination. Admiral Li Chen stands on the command deck, her weathered face illuminated by tactical displays as she studies the alien formation. 20 years of military service have prepared her for many things, but this moment, humanity's first interstellar conflict, weighs heavily on her shoulders. Open all communication channels, she orders. Broadcast in standard Concorde frequencies extracted from the Pathfinder data. Communications Officer Rivera nods. Channels open. Admiral. Lai straightens her uniform and speaks with deliberate calm. Attention Concorde vessels. This is Admiral Li Chen of the Earth Defense Force Vessel Retribution. We seek dialogue regarding your unprovoked attack on our exploration vessel Pathfinder 6 months ago. Power down weapons systems and prepare to receive representatives. On the Concorde flagship, Admiral Zextal's mandibles click rapidly, the equivalent of derisive laughter. The primitives seek to negotiate from a position of weakness. One vessel against our fleet. Their arrogance exceeds their intelligence. His second-in-command, Sub-Admiral Krital, studies the scans with more concern. The human vessel's energy readings are unusual, Admiral. Their shield configuration doesn't match any known defense system. Irrelevant. Zextal dismisses. Execute standard eradication protocol. All vessels, synchronize plasma barrage on my mark. Across the Concorde fleet, weapon systems power up, their crystalline energy cores pulsing with building potential. The combined firepower of 50 advanced warships could reduce most planets to molten slag. No response to our hail, Rivera reports on the Retribution's bridge. Tactical Officer Washington's console flashes urgent warnings. Energy buildup detected across all Concorde vessels. They're preparing to fire. Lai's expression hardens. So be it. Defensive Posture Alpha. Activate Adaptive Hull Matrix. Throughout the massive human warship, specialized systems engage. Microscopic machines within the hull's quantum lattice align in preparation for the coming assault. All hands, brace for impact. Lai announces shipwide. The Concorde fleet fires as one, a dazzling array of superheated plasma that turns the darkness of space into blinding day. The energy discharge is visible from 3 star systems away, a display of overwhelming force meant to vaporize the human vessel instantly. But the impossible happens. Instead of exploding under the barrage, the Retribution's hull begins to glow. First red, then orange, eventually shifting to a brilliant blue as the adaptive matrix absorbs the incoming energy. The ship's outer layer ripples like liquid metal, channeling the assault energy through specialized conduits. Hull matrix at 87% efficiency, reports Engineer Nakamura from below decks. Power capture systems functioning optimally, transferring absorbed energy to auxiliary systems. On the Concorde flagship, disbelief spreads like a virus. Impossible. Zextal hisses, his exoskeleton bristling. No shield technology can withstand such firepower. It's not shielding the attack, Krital observes with growing alarm. It's absorbing it. Admiral Lai allows herself the briefest smile. Target their weapon systems only. Precision strikes, non-lethal response. The Retribution's weapon ports open, revealing targeting arrays that lock onto specific sections of 3 Concorde flagships. The human vessel fires, not the expected kinetic weapons, but concentrated beams of the Concorde's own energy, redirected with surgical precision. 3 Concorde vessels suddenly go dark, their weapons and propulsion systems offline. The crews remain unharmed, but utterly powerless, forced to watch through viewports as the unstoppable human warship calmly proceeds through their formation. Status of targeted Concord vessels. Lee asks. Systems disabled as intended, Admiral. Life support and artificial gravity remain functional. Lee nods with satisfaction. Broadcast across all Concord frequencies. This was restraint, not limitation. We could have destroyed your vessels but chose not to. The next time we meet, bring diplomats instead of weapons. As the Retribution pushes deeper into Concord space, the disabled alien ships drift silently, their crews experiencing something few in the Concord military had ever known. Defeat. The Concord's military council erupts into chaos as strategic overlord Vexnar slams his exoskeletal fist against holographic displays, showing the Retribution's continued advance. The chamber, designed for ordered deliberation, now rings with the discordant sounds of 7 different species arguing in their native tongues. Silence. Vexnar finally commands, his voice amplified by the chamber's acoustics. This disorganization serves no purpose. We must understand our enemy to defeat them. High Intelligence Director Saleth, a slender being with luminescent skin, steps forward. Her species, the Aetheri, process information differently than the others, sensing patterns in data like flavors or scents. We have compiled an analysis of human physiology and history based on the cultural data they transmitted before we destroyed their exploration vessel. She begins, her voice melodic yet troubled. The results are concerning. The holographic display shifts to show an image of Earth, a swirling blue-green world with white cloud patterns. The human homeworld is a death trap by Concord standards. Saleth continues. Gravity 1.4 times our standard. Atmospheric pressure that would crush Silny lungs. Temperature variations from freezing to scorching, sometimes in the same region within a single-day cycle. Their world experiences regular natural disasters, massive storms, tectonic shifts, volcanic eruptions. The council members shift uncomfortably as she continues. Their biological evolution reflects this harsh environment. Dense musculature and skeletal structures to withstand the gravity. Redundant organ systems, the ability to survive significant blood loss or physical trauma. Their bodies can regulate temperature across extreme ranges and adapt to altitudes where oxygen levels would leave most of us unconscious. Vexnar's mandibles click impatiently. Physical attributes matter little against our technology. It's not just their bodies, Saleth counters. It's how their environment shaped their psychology and technological development. The display changes to show scenes from human history, warfare across millennia. Most Concord species evolved through cooperation, she explains. Our worlds were hospitable enough that survival depended on working together rather than fighting. Humans had the opposite experience. Their history includes constant warfare, not just against their environment, but against each other. The images cycle through human conflicts, weapons evolving from simple tools to increasingly sophisticated designs. While we were perfecting particle physics, they were perfecting ways to kill each other. While we explored harmonious social structures, they explored increasingly effective weapon systems. Military Commander Drelvor, a heavily armored being from a high-gravity world himself, leans forward. You're suggesting their warfare-driven innovation outpaces our peace-driven progress. Precisely, Saleth confirms. For most of us, war is a rare necessity. For them, war has been a constant driver of innovation. What they lack in longevity as a spacefaring species, they make up for in battle-tested technologies. She gestures, and the display shows scans of the Retribution. Their ship incorporates principles we've never combined, because we never needed to. They've developed hybrid systems that integrate offensive and defensive capabilities in ways our specialized designs can't match. Deep in the Retribution's engine room, Chief Engineer Hikaru Nakamura moves through narrow access tunnels, making adjustments to the ship's revolutionary adaptive defense systems. Her hands fly across control surfaces, optimizing the quantum stabilization fields after their first real combat test. Absorption efficiency at 91%, she reports through her comlink. We could do better with the conversion ratios, though. Her assistant, Engineer Rodriguez, nods in agreement. The Concorde energy signatures are slightly different than our simulations predicted. Their weapons use a harmonic frequency we hadn't accounted for. Nakamura smiles slightly. That's what makes humans special, Niel. We adapt. She gestures to the engine core, a marvel of integrated technologies. Components from 3 different alien civilizations humans had encountered and befriended before meeting the Concorde are seamlessly integrated with Earth-developed systems. Our strength isn't that we're stronger or smarter, she explains to the younger engineer. It's that we take ideas from everywhere and everyone. The Arcturian gravitational principles, Syrian energy conversion techniques, Proximan defensive systems, all working together in ways their original creators never imagined. On the bridge, Admiral Lai receives Nakamura's optimization report with satisfaction. The tactical display shows Concorde forces scrambling to establish defensive positions as the Retribution pushes deeper into their territory. They still don't understand what they're facing, she observes quietly. They think we're just another species with better technology. Commander Sato raises an eyebrow. Aren't we? Lai shakes her head. We're not just another species, Commander. We're humanity, the universe's ultimate survivors. And they're about to learn what that means. Admiral Lai deploys a swarm of microscopic reconnaissance drones, invisible to Concorde sensors but connected through quantum entanglement, that disperse like metallic dust across 5 star systems. Each particle-sized drone transmits real-time intelligence back to the Retribution's central computer, creating an unprecedented situational awareness net. Deployment complete, reports Lieutenant Commander Rice from the tactical station. Quantum network stabilized. We have eyes on 17 major Concorde installations and 23 fleet groups. Lai studies the 3-dimensional tactical display with analytical precision. Glowing dots represent Concorde vessels converging from multiple vectors toward the Cassiopean Nebula, over 200 ships in total. They're setting a trap, she observes. Rice nods. The nebula's radiation would blind most scanning systems. They expect we'll lose our tactical advantage if they force us into that environment. Most scanning systems, Lai repeats with the ghost of a smile. Not ours. She turns to Navigation Officer Chen. Calculate a path through the Schrödinger corridor. Chen's eyes widen. Admiral, that pathway is theoretically stable but untested. The gravitational shearing force is cold. Could tear apart a conventionally designed vessel. Lai finishes. But not ours. The adaptive hull matrix should compensate. Throughout the massive ship, preparations begin for the daring maneuver, the Schrödinger corridor. A narrow path where quantum fluctuations create a temporary wormhole had never been successfully navigated by any Concorde vessel. In the Supreme Concorde Command Center, Admiral Zek Stahl surveys his assembled forces with satisfaction. The strategic whole-of display shows the human vessel's projected course directly toward their carefully arranged trap. The human ship may have superior technology, he announces to his officers, but they lack our strategic experience. Once they enter the nebula, our numerical advantage will prevail. Sub-Admiral Krichtal monitors the incoming sensor data. The human vessel has reduced speed, Admiral. They appear to be scanning the nebula perimeter. As expected, Zexthal clicks confidently. They sense the trap but have no alternative route. Suddenly, alert signals flare across the command center. Sensor operators frantically adjust their instruments as confusion spreads among the officers. The human vessel. It's gone. Krichtal reports, disbelief evident in his voice. Impossible. Zexthal spins toward the main display. No ship can mask its signature so completely. Check for sensor malfunctions. But the sensors are functioning perfectly. The Retribution has simply vanished from conventional detection. Aboard the human warship, the crew braces as reality itself seems to bend around them. The viewports show twisted star patterns as the vessel traverses the quantum corridor, riding gravitational eddies that should rip apart any spacecraft. Hull integrity at 84% and holding, reports Nakamura from engineering. Quantum stabilizers compensating for spatial distortion. The journey lasts only minutes, but when the Retribution emerges, it's behind the Concorde fleet, directly adjacent to one of their primary communication relay stations. Position confirmed. Chen announces with evident relief, "We've successfully traversed the corridor." Lai doesn't waste the advantage of surprise. Target the relay station's power core and transmission arrays. Precision strikes only. No structural damage to living quarters or life support systems. The Retribution fires with surgical precision. The communication relay goes dark, its capabilities neutralized without a single casualty among the station personnel. Before the Concorde can respond, the human vessel vanishes again, slipping through another quantum corridor to emerge near a critical supply depot. For the next 48 hours, what becomes known in later Concorde military academies as the Ghost War unfolds across 5 star systems. The human warship seemingly predicts Concorde movements before they happen, appearing and disappearing through gravitational corridors thought impassable, systematically neutralizing military targets while scrupulously avoiding civilian casualties. During a brief respite between engagements, Admiral Lai walks the Retribution's memorial corridor, touching the wall inscribed with names from the HSS Pathfinder. The lighting is subdued here, creating a space for reflection amidst the intensity of their mission. "We're making our point, Alina," she whispers to her fallen friend's name. They're beginning to understand what humanity represents. Commander Sato approaches with respect for the moment. "Admiral, we've intercepted internal Concorde communications. Their High Council is convening an emergency session to discuss our actions." Lai nods thoughtfully. They expected revenge, indiscriminate destruction like they would inflict. Instead, we're showing them precision, restraint, and capabilities beyond their understanding. Some crew members are questioning that restraint, Sato admits. They want justice for the Pathfinder. "This is justice," Lai responds firmly, "not vengeance. We're demonstrating who we are, technologically superior, but morally grounded. That's the message Earth wants to send." She turns from the memorial wall, her resolve strengthened rather than diminished. "Prepare for Phase 3. It's time to deliver our ultimatum." The Retribution broadcasts its ultimatum across all Concorde communication channels in perfect unified Concorde language, simultaneously breaking encryption on restricted government frequencies to ensure civilian populations hear the message alongside their leaders. The message begins with the complete unaltered recording from the Pathfinder's final moments, forcing the Concorde to witness their unprovoked aggression. In billions of homes across 7 species and 26 worlds, civilians watch with growing horror as the truth unfolds on their communication devices. The Concorde government had reported the incident as neutralization of an aggressive invasive species. The Pathfinder recording tells a different story. Admiral Lee's face appears next, her expression solemn but determined. "People of the Galactic Concorde, I am Admiral Lee Chen of Earth. What you have witnessed is the unprovoked destruction of our peaceful exploration vessel. Despite this act of aggression, we have demonstrated restraint. We have disabled your military vessels without destruction. We have neutralized strategic installations without civilian casualties. This was not due to limitation, but choice." The broadcast displays detailed schematics of the Retribution's capabilities, including energy readings that verify its power. Humanity demands 3 things: acknowledgement of unprovoked aggression against our exploratory vessel, reparations for the families of those lost, and integration into galactic law as equals. Earth will send its deep space fleet if these terms are not met within 48 standard hours. In the Concorde High Council chambers on the capital world of Harmonium Prime, pandemonium erupts. The 21 council members, 3 representatives from each member species, shout over one another in a cacophony of alien languages. "How did they breach our encryption?" demands Councillor Vexinar. Our communication security is impenetrable. That's clearly no longer true, responds Counselor Saleth with uncharacteristic sharpness. What matters now is how we respond to these demands. Intelligence analysts rush into the chamber, displaying urgent reports on the main projection system. High Council, we've detected quantum fluctuations at the edge of the Sol system. The human home system, reports the lead analyst. The pattern suggests multiple vessels of Retribution's class or larger in standby formation. Horrified silence falls over the chamber as the implications sink in. If one human warship could systematically dismantle Concord military capabilities across 5 star systems, what could an entire fleet accomplish? High Counselor Xantur, an elder of the Etheri species known for wisdom rather than military prowess, rises slowly from her seat. Though physically frail, her presence commands attention as she approaches the central speaking position. Esteemed colleagues, she begins, her melodic voice cutting through the tension. Before we continue this discussion, I would ask one simple question that none seem willing to address. The chamber falls silent, waiting. If humans wished our extinction, why have they shown such restraint with a single ship? Murmurs spread across the chamber as she continues. They disabled our vessels rather than destroying them. They neutralized military capabilities while preserving civilian infrastructure. They'd broadcast the truth to our people, rather than simply obliterating our worlds from afar. She gestures to the holographic display, showing the Retribution's path through Concord space, a surgical strike rather than a path of destruction. These are not the actions of barbarians or mindless aggressors. These are the actions of a species demonstrating both overwhelming capability and ethical restraint, a species we grievously wronged through our arrogance. Military Commander Drelvor rises in opposition. You suggest capitulation to these demands, showing weakness to potential conquerors. I suggest recognizing reality. Xantur counters. Our military advantage is illusory. Our technological superiority no longer exists. We attacked them without provocation, and they have responded with proportional force, while offering diplomatic resolution. She looks around the chamber, meeting the eyes of each council member. The choice before us is not whether to fight or surrender. The choice is whether to acknowledge our error and welcome a new species as equals, or to persist in a conflict that could end our civilization. In the observation lounge of the Retribution, Admiral Lai watches the stars while awaiting the Concorde's response. Officer Rivera approaches with a data tablet. Message from Earth Central Command, Admiral. Decoded and verified. Lai reviews the message, a tight smile forming at the corners of her mouth. Inform the crew that the Concorde has 36 hours remaining to respond before the deadline, and let them know that the Aurora, Defiant, and Thunderchild battle groups have moved to standby positions at the edge of our system, ready to join us if necessary. Rivera hesitates. Are they really coming, Admiral? Lai's eyes remain on the distant stars. The Concorde doesn't need to know whether they are or aren't. What matters is that they believe we're prepared to escalate if diplomacy fails. As the ultimatum clock counts down, both civilizations stand at the precipice of either devastating conflict or transformative cooperation. The neutral station Harmony's prospect hosts the tense peace negotiations, its crystalline architecture suspended in the void between Concord and newly designated human space. Inside the grand negotiation chamber, Admiral Lai and 3 human diplomats face the full 12-member Concord High Council across tables made from transparent aluminum, symbolizing the transparency demanded by both sides. Dr. Maya Patel, Earth's foremost Xenodiplomat, begins the formal proceedings. Her voice is calm but carries unshakable authority. We appreciate the Concorde's willingness to engage in dialogue following recent events. As a gesture of good faith, we've agreed to this neutral location and limited security contingents. High Counselor Xantur inclines her luminescent head slightly. The Concorde acknowledges humanity's restraint during our conflict. We come prepared to discuss your terms. The atmosphere in the chamber remains charged with tension as technical specialists from both sides prepare for capability disclosures, a standard procedure in interstellar peace negotiations. Commander Sato oversees the human presentation, coordinating with Lieutenant Nazari on the technical displays. Before formal terms are discussed, Sato begins, activating a holographic projection. Mutual understanding of capabilities is essential for meaningful agreement. The projection displays the retribution in perfect detail. Every weapon system, defensive capability, and engineering specification laid bare for the Concord representatives. The HFY Retribution represents Earth's current frontline technological capabilities. Sato explains, his tone professional and matter-of-fact. A ripple of confusion passes through the Concord delegation. Sub-Admiral Krital leans forward, compound eyes narrowing. You claim this vessel, which systematically disabled our most advanced fleet, represents merely your current capabilities, not specialized or experimental technology. Sato nods. That is correct. The Retribution is Earth's standard defensive platform, though it was specifically selected for this mission. Selected? Echoes Counselor Vexnar, mandibles clicking in agitation, implying you had alternatives. Admiral Lai exchanges a glance with Dr. Puddle before addressing the question. The Retribution was chosen for this mission because of its specific capabilities. It is not humanity's most advanced warship, but a deliberately limited demonstration model designed specifically to minimize casualties while displaying enough capability to facilitate diplomatic resolution. The holographic display shifts to show additional vessel designs, larger, more advanced configurations with capabilities that make the Concord representatives nearly overturn their seats in shock. These classes remain in Earth orbit. Lai continues calmly. They were prepared to deploy if diplomacy failed, but we hoped one vessel would suffice to establish dialogue. Second Lieutenant Farhad Nazari, a quiet presence until now, steps forward with a small device in his palm. With your permission, I'll demonstrate another capability relevant to these negotiations. At Xanter's cautious nod, Nazari activates the device. A soft pulse emanates throughout the chamber, and suddenly 27 hidden Concord surveillance devices materialize in the air, their cloaking fields disabled and positions revealed with perfect precision. Quantum observation technology, Nazari explains to the stunned silence. It allows detection of objects regardless of cloaking or stealth systems. The Concord security chief turns a shade of embarrassed purple, while several council members exchange alarmed glances. This technology was considered theoretically impossible by our scientists. Krital finally states, mandibles clicking rapidly in agitation. Ambassador Rebecca Chu, the final member of the human delegation, rises to address the increasingly unsettled Concord representatives. The revelation of these surveillance devices brings us to an important point, she says, her voice gentle but firm. Humans have been studying the Concord for years through undetectable means, learning your languages and cultures, hoping for peaceful first contact. She activates another display, showing detailed star charts of Concord territory, with observation posts marked at strategic locations. Our quantum entanglement sensors allowed us to study your civilization without detection. We had hoped to establish diplomatic relations through proper channels, following your own first contact protocols we had observed. Ku's expression grows solemn. The Pathfinder incident forced our hand. We had to demonstrate capability sufficient to ensure you would negotiate rather than attempt further aggression. In the stunned silence that follows, Xanter slowly rises to her feet. Her luminescence pulses with emotion as she addresses not the human delegation, but her fellow council members. We assumed technological superiority based on our longer history of interstellar travel, she says quietly. We dismissed humans as primitives because they had only recently achieved faster-than-light capability. Yet they have developed technologies we considered theoretical while observing us without detection. She turns to face Admiral Lai directly. The question I must ask, Admiral, if you possessed the capability to destroy our vessels at any time, and had been observing us for years, Why respond with such restraint after we destroy your exploratory vessel? Many species would have sought retribution far beyond what you demonstrated. Lai's response is simple but profound. Because that's not who we are. Humanity has fought countless wars against ourselves and learned the hardest possible lessons about conflict and peace. We could have responded with destruction, but we chose to demonstrate capability without annihilation, to show you not just what we can do, but who we choose to be. As the implications of humanity's true capabilities and ethical restraints sink in, the negotiations shift from dictated terms to genuine dialogue between civilizations recognizing each other as equals for the first time. 6 months after the treaty signing, the Retribution returns to Earth escorting 5 Concord diplomatic vessels through the spectacular Jupiter Gateway, the massive ringed structure, Earth's first interstellar transit portal, pulses with energy as it stabilizes the wormhole pathway from Concord space. Admiral Lai stands on the Retribution's observation deck alongside Xantur, now the Concord's first ambassador to Earth. Together they watch the massive space elevator from lunar orbit as it carries the inaugural cultural exchange delegations to the human homeworld. It's quite beautiful, Xantur observes, her luminescence pulsing gently with emotion. The blue oceans, white clouds, green and brown landmasses, so vibrant compared to most Concord worlds. It's home, Lai responds simply, though I admit seeing it from this perspective never gets old. Below them, Earth shines like a jewel in the blackness, its cities illuminating the night side like constellations of human achievement. The approaching Concord vessels, representing all 7 member species, transmit messages of excitement and apprehension as they prepare to experience humanity's homeworld firsthand. My people were most concerned about your gravity, Xantur admits with a musical laugh. The adaptive exoskeletons your engineers designed have alleviated those fears. Lai smiles. Adaptation is what humans do best. The same creativity that makes us formidable in conflict makes us excellent problem solvers in peace. Aboard the Lid Concord vessel, Cultural Exchange Director Ticklith, promoted from her former sensor operator position, coordinates final preparations with her diverse team. The initial fear and suspicion that had greeted humanity's arrival in Concord space has transformed into intense curiosity. Remember your environmental protocols, she instructs a group of Vextalian scientists, their insectoid forms encased in specialized environmental suits. Human world biomes contain substances potentially toxic to our systems. Despite these warnings, enthusiasm runs high. The Concord species have discovered that humans' capacity for innovation extends far beyond weapons technology. Preliminary cultural exchanges revealed art forms that evoke emotions the Concord didn't know they could feel, music creating harmonies previously unconsidered, and philosophical concepts, challenging fundamental assumptions about consciousness itself. In the Lunar Transfer Station, Earth's delegation coordinator Dr. Jackson reviews final arrangements for the welcoming ceremony. The Aetheri representatives will need specialized lighting in their quarters, he reminds his staff, and that Silni delegation requires triple the standard humidity levels. His assistant nods, updating the protocols on her tablet. The university symposiums are oversubscribed. Everyone wants to attend the Concord lectures on unified field theory. And I hear the Concord representatives are equally eager for our presentations on quantum entanglement applications, Jackson notes with satisfaction. It seems we each have something valuable to teach. 3 days later, the groundbreaking ceremony for the Pathfinder Memorial Spaceport takes place on the Martian surface. The massive construction project, jointly designed by human and Concord architects, will serve as humanity's primary interstellar transit hub and a living monument to those whose sacrifice made peaceful contact possible. Admiral Lai and Ambassador Xantur stand side by side on the red Martian soil, each holding a ceremonial planting tool. Before them, 2 seedlings wait in a specially prepared growth medium, one a maple tree from Earth, the other a luminescent crystal plant from Xantur's homeworld. In Concord tradition, Xanter explains to the assembled dignitaries and billions watching via broadcast. We mark new beginnings by planting living symbols that will grow alongside our shared journey. Lai nods in understanding. Earth shares similar traditions. These plants represent our hope that what begins today will flourish for generations to come. Together, they place the seedlings into the Martian soil. Separate species, but sharing the same ground, their roots destined to intertwine beneath the surface while growing in their own unique ways above it. In the nearby biodome complex, human and Concord children already play together in the low-gravity environment. The first generation to grow up knowing both civilizations chase each other through carefully designed habitats, their laughter transcending biological differences. Yum Tarek, son of Lieutenant Nazari, shows a fascinated Vextalian child how to bounce a ball in the reduced gravity, while a young Aetheri teaches human children how to perceive sound as color through special interfaces. As the ceremony concludes, Lai and Xanter look out over the construction site, where the massive spaceport will soon stand. In the distance, Earth shines as a bright blue star in the Martian sky, a reminder of how far humanity has come and how much further all species might go together. When the Pathfinder was destroyed, Lai says quietly, "I never imagined we would arrive here, building together rather than destroying each other." Xanter's luminescence pulses in agreement. The universe is vast and often dangerous. Perhaps the greatest discovery any species can make is not a new technology or star system, but the understanding that we need not face that vastness alone. As if in response, a notification chimes on Lai's communication device. It's a report from the Joint Exploration Fleet, human and Concord vessels venturing together into uncharted space, their mission no longer conquest or competition, but shared discovery. The message reads simply, "New star system charted. Unusual energy signatures detected. Request permission to investigate. Together." Lai shows the message to Xanter, and both share a smile that transcends their biological differences. Permission granted, they respond as one.